As I've already stated in this protest, Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell was convicted of the forcible rape of teenage Tibetan refugees. Other Unitarian Universalist ministers have been convicted of sexual abuse of children, and so on. There's definitely been a certain number of such crimes where Unitarian Universalist ministers and Sunday school teachers, such as Stephen Craig Bullite, have been charged, tried, and convicted of sex crimes in a court of law and sentenced to jail terms. So there's no question that such crimes have, in fact, been proven in courts of law. The cover-up itself may not have been proven in a court of law, but there's clear evidence of Unitarians trying to cover up clergy abuse, just including the bullshit that Sue Montgomery fed to Stéphane Giroux. That's part of the cover-up efforts, is basically providing false information to journalists which convince them that there's no clergy abuse problem and that there's no cover-up of clergy abuse. So that's just one example where, basically a recent example, where Sue Montgomery told a Montreal journalist that, my claims about clergy abuse and Unitarian cover-up of clergy abuse have no foundation in the truth, which is bullshit, also known as fake news. So, well done, Stéphane Giroux of CTV Montreal News. And also, I have to express my discontent with also Jed Kahane, however you want to pronounce it. When I saw this statement falsely claiming that there were no such sex crimes, there was no cover-up, etc., hadn't been proven in a court of law, I tried to get that properly corrected. I contacted Jed Kahane, who's the news director for CTV, several times, left phone messages for him, telling him that that specific statement was false and that I expected that statement to be properly corrected. Well, for days, absolutely nothing happened. I never at any time heard back from Jed Kahane. I'm still waiting to hear back from Jed Kahane. And then at a certain point, I think maybe more than a week later, after the report had been filed, the sentence in question was simply removed from the online webpage. They just removed that statement, no such crimes, let alone a cover-up, have been proven in court. And as if they'd never made a mistake or anything. They just hid that, basically hiding the evidence of their own mistake as far as I'm concerned. No correction stating that, oh, well, in fact, there have been sex crimes, and in fact, Rob and Edgar has been accused of blasphemous libel and efforts to hide clergy sex abuse. Indeed, Sue Montgomery's criminal harassment accusation against me is part of the Unitarian efforts to hide clergy sex abuse, because it's partly motivated by an effort to shut down my protest in front of the church. Part of Sue's motivation for having me accused of criminal harassment was to get conditions placed on me that would prevent me from being here. It would prevent me from displaying picket signs to the public protesting against Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse, which includes sexual abuse of children. So Sue Montgomery is absolutely involved in Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse cover-up efforts. There's no question about it. She's not just passively complicit in terms of doing absolutely nothing to speak out against these things and totally ignoring my protest and everything. She's on several different occasions now actively tried to silence me, tried to prevent me from protesting and so on. And that's an active attempt to hide Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse from the public. Alrighty. So, we shall... it's okay, Dory. It's okay, it's okay. Oh. Okay, I thought you were stepping out of my way. Right. Okay, I thought she was stepping into the bike lane. So, anyhow, let's see here. So yeah, there's really no question at this point in time, and there really hasn't been any question in my mind that since at least 2006, basically 12 years now, that in various ways Sue Montgomery has directly involved herself in efforts to shut down my protest in front of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, and thus she is actively involved in Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse cover-up efforts. So we got a couple of church members heading this way, and I'll just continue to circulate, make sure the cars see the signs. So the guy going into the church there, his name is John. And he's basically pretty docile these days, but in the past he has gotten in my face just a little bit. He hasn't done so recently, but he's one of those Montreal Unitarians who is in deep denial of the readily verifiable truth about Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse and cover-up and denial thereof. So, at various times, different Montreal Unitarians have not only verbally expressed their disapproval for my protest, but some have even stolen my picket signs, physically assaulted me, and so on and so forth. So he, if I remember correctly, I don't think John ever actually physically attacked me. I think he might have tried to dispose of some of my picket signs, but to the best of my knowledge, but he definitely got in my face verbally and tried to dissuade me from protesting. And he certainly showed deep psychological denial, as do most, if not all, Montreal Unitarians who ignore this protest for, in some cases, 20 years almost. Here's another Montreal Unitarian. So, some more kids coming this way on bikes. It's probably one of the first Sundays in 2018 where it's been possible for young children to go out on the bike trails. Yeah, it was possible last Sunday in terms of the clearness of the road, but it was very cold. Would have been problematic. It's always a good morning when I'm accused of blasphemy by Unitarians. Doesn't get better than that. So I get this good morning from a new arrival. I saw this guy, I believe, last Sunday. This is a fairly new face. And, one of the ways that Unitarians try to dismiss my protest is just to pretend it has no validity. And, they'll be sort of superficially friendly and say things like, good morning, have a good day, and this kind of thing. And whenever they do, I like to remind them that it's always a good day when Unitarians are accusing me of blasphemy, because it's just hilarious. It's totally, literally laughable. And we're talking atheist Unitarians. Oh, look, an out-of-province plate here. This could be people from another state pulling up. So this could get interesting. This could get interesting if they're coming to the Unitarian Church. So, it looks like they probably are. So we'll see if out-of-province Unitarian Universalists want to have a little chat with me about Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse and cover-up and denial of clergy abuse. You know, they may just go in the back door and avoid any communication whatsoever, assuming, of course, that they are Unitarians. I'm making an assumption here, but it's, you know, often, you know, when you see an out-of-province plate pulling up close to the Unitarian Church of Montreal, it is, in fact, because it's Unitarian Universalists from, let's say, New York and New Hampshire or Massachusetts, etc., who happen to be in Montreal, and they're coming to the Unitarian Church of Montreal for a Sunday service while they're in Montreal. So I've had a fair number of chats with out-of-province Unitarian Universalists in the past. We might have another one today. And that being said, I think I'm going to check my camera, see how we're doing for time. Okay, yeah, we're almost at the end of a half hour.